difficulty just now, but I want to welcome everybody. My name is Stefan, and today we have a really exciting, amazing spaces talking about AI and Bitcoin synergy. We'll be talking about how AI might help Bitcoin and how Bitcoin mining can be improved with artificial intelligence. In a moment's time, as we are waiting for everyone to come on board, we are going to be allowing the speakers to come on and sort of introduce themselves. I usually give them a really short introduction and then let them do a better job at the introduction. But I want to introduce one by one. If you're a speaker and you know that you have been invited, please request to speak. Also, as well, today we are giving away 10 USD for every good question. So if you're a listener and you've been listening carefully for the first 1 hour, if you have a good question to ask, make sure it's not AI generated. Come up with a question and you can walk away with some free internet money, free internet US dollars. Also, as well, we do have some requests from people who have been in the last spaces who hasn't been allocated the free internet money yet. Please feel free to message us. I will personally respond to those messages and airdrop the tokens that are supposed to be given to you. All right. If not, I would like to give some time for each speaker to speak first. I'd like to invite Aaron up first to do an introduction of himself. Aaron is the guy who has been putting all of these spaces together. I really, deep down from the bottom of my heart, really appreciate this guy. Not only does he push every single space, he also do real events, push for hackathons, and connect people who knows how to create dApps on the ICP platform, people who understands the ICP platform, people who want to learn. He's the one who connect them all. Aaron, would you like to come up and say a big hi?
Hi everyone, I'm Aaron from ICP Hub Singapore, and tonight I'm really happy to have so many fantastic OGs and leaders of the ICP community involved here. Definitely Carl, I'm so glad to have you here. Herbert also, thanks for making time for us. Eric, which is founder of Satoshi Club. Eric, thanks so much for your support. And supporting us through major events like Token last year. Also, Odin, is that Bob? I'm not sure, but Odin, you've been fantastic, and you're the reason why we have this space here. And Omnity with cross-chain technology, and that's being used by so many projects, and yet not highlighted often enough. Yeah, so looking forward to the session. Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you, Aaron. All right, first up, we have Carl. Carl is in data analytics. He's a Web3 dreamer. Carl, would you like to unmute yourself, do a sound test with us so that everyone can hear you, do a short introduction, and maybe one thing that you're excited about between AI and Bitcoin? Go ahead, Carl, you can unmute yourself. Oh, Carl, can you hear me?
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, if not,
Can I
okay,
speak?
we can hear you. Go ahead. Yeah, go
Okay,
ahead,
okay.
Odin, go ahead.
Hello. I'm the Odin Funds community. I'm a Chinese community leader. I like Odin Fund, and I'm very happy in here. That I see Herbert and Kyle is very happy. Yeah, I think um, many AI agents coins are happen created on Odin Fund, like Confucius, like Freya, like the liquid token, and many things had happened in the EVM will happen on Odin Fund again. So I think we should pay more attention, focus on the Odin Fund, and but now we need more liquid, now we need more liquid and need need everyone pay more focus on the Odin Fund. Yes. Hello, Herbert. Hello, Kyle. And we all know Bitcoin. I think the Odin Fund will make the Bitcoin ecosystem great again. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Odin. It's very interesting to be hearing from you. I think we always like to hear from our brothers from China 我们中国的兄弟. Very happy that you're here. I'm very sure that you have an insight and a perspective that we will be invaluable to us because you guys have been mining Bitcoin and have been one of the heaviest supporters in the crypto and DeFi and blockchain ecosystem. So super stoked that you're here today. Thank you for speaking up. Again, Carl, if you want to come on, do let me know. I'm gonna go to Eric first. I first met Eric in Singapore at an ICP event, Chain Fusion. He's a creative director. He's very into new technologies to improve systems and empowering communities. Eric, could you unmute yourself so that we can hear you and do a sound test
Hi,
and say hi?
everybody. Hello, Stephen. Thank you for inviting me to the space, ICP team. I'm Eric Alexandre. I've been in the space for more than 10 years, actually. I was an early adopter since 2014. I was there at the pre-sale of Ethereum, and I've seen the space evolving. I've been involved with Native Capital, which is a Web3 startup venture fund. I'm also founding member of Club Satoshi, which is a community of Web3 enthusiasts where we support many conferences across Asia and now Europe and the US, such as D2049 Consensus, and also organize large conferences such as Bitcoin Impact and help over organizer to the conference. So next one will be during Token 2049 in Singapore in partnership with SUSI and Access Malaysia. So involved in the space, definitely new technology, looking at AI for a while now. Invested in the first AI trading bot for copy trading on Binance and other agents at CMX, and doing a lot of exciting stuff in there. So looking forward to this panel and share and learn from you guys. Cheers.
Cheers, Eric. Thank you for that wonderful introduction. I think that you are invaluable. I think you're very grassroots in terms of events and technologies and really helping investors and projects, do their thing. Thank you so much for being here today. I'm looking forward to your insights. Herbert, you're the next person I'd like to introduce. Herbert ICP, he's the GM, the general manager at Definity, Web3 investor and evangelist. Herbert, would you like to unmute yourself, say hi?
Hey, sure. Hey, thank you, Stephen and Aaron, for the invite. Thank you, ICB Hubs Network. Hello, everyone. This is Herbert. I'm the general manager for Asia from Definity Foundation. So I guess Definity needs probably no introduction on this particular call. So I've been around with Definity for almost 4 years, which is pretty. It's really, I can't tell you what an exciting ride that has been. And I just came from another Twitter Spaces moments ago, where I told I think a very somewhat frustrating audience that the best is yet to come. A lot of folks in the industry are not exactly excited by all the BTC related news. They feel to some extent the battle has been lost, and but I think that's the exact opportunity for ICP, because what ICP is capable of, because we are the only blockchain that can handle our smart contract can handle native cryptocurrencies, and we can run a DeepSeek R0 model inside the Kinesis smart contract. Nobody else can do that. So I think this is really the best time for ICP. So very looking forward to sharing what's going on in Asia, what's coming next in the world of ICP on this very interesting topic, AI and Bitcoin. Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you, Herbert. Looking forward to hearing from you. Next, we have Harpreet. Harpreet is no stranger. Harpreet Singh is the founder of multiple projects. He has been around with our ICP spaces and at events. In fact, his knowledge base for BTC is one of the most profound one. Harpreet, would you like to unmute yourself, say hi to everyone, and so they can do a sound test as well? Go ahead.
Definitely. Hello, everybody. Thanks for having me here. Are you able to hear me clearly?
Yes, we can.
Thank you. Awesome, man.
Go ahead, introduce yourself.
Definitely. Yeah. So it's been over a decade, me dabbling into crypto and blockchain and AI. So I've served in various positions, as been introduced earlier. So I'm the president of Access Blockchain Association Malaysia. At the moment, I'm serving for the second term as the president. And also at the same time, I run multiple ventures. I have events company called Intervalues. I'll share more about it later. and also my own venture, which is called ICA. It's actually an agentic AI infrastructure for DeFi, right? So we had been talking a lot about DeFi and DeFi AI and all the new emerging terms, but nobody's talking about the infrastructure. So I noticed that that's like a position to be served. So that is my next new venture. But other than that, I'll be costly touching on my experience as we go in this AMA. Back to you, man.
Thank you, bro. Thank you, Harpreet. I think it's really interesting that you just point out like infrastructure is important because I always think that it's like the builders who are looking for the infrastructure to support the functions that they are about to build. I think there should be more people building the servers, the things that support what we need. Yeah, so the very, very, very interesting take on that. Looking forward to hearing about your projects as well. Is Sheldon here? Sheldon from Omnity. If you are, please go ahead and unmute yourself. Do a better introduction that I am doing right now from the Omnity network. Go ahead. Omni Chain Hub. Is Sheldon here?
Yes, hi, it's me on the Omnity account. Thanks so much for having us.
Hi, Sheldon. Thank you so much. Yeah, go ahead.
So, I've been active in blockchain and cryptocurrency for more than 10 years, cybersecurity more than 15. Very proud of our work here at Omnity Network. That's been the result of the last 6 years of light client development. Even though we've only been known as Omnity Network for 2 years, a lot of the GitHub repository you'll see are, many years of blockchain light client work. So, very proud of that. Currently, we're focused on tokenized UTXO environment and orchestrated PSBT environment known as the Runes Execution Environment, or REE. That's what our new Bitcoin DEX Rich Swap is built on. We just took that open source a couple of days ago. You can see that pinned to the account here. And also, we've been doing some heavy refinement on the multi-chain bridge and looking for some new projects that are going to use the tooling there. So we've got a lot going on, but I think that's the shortest way I can say it.
Thank you, Sheldon. Looking forward to asking you some questions. Is Natalie here? If Natalie is here, then we can go ahead and introduce her. If not, we are going to actually do a really quick housekeeping. Guys, we are going to do this a lot more consistently. Do remember to follow all of our speakers today, from Omnity Network to Aaron, to ICP Hub Nigeria, who's here with us today, to Eric, to Herbert, to Harpreet, to Odin Fun. Okay, I think Natalie is not on, but I think we're just gonna begin. Also, as well, guys, we are giving away 10 USD for every good question, good human question that you can ask. So listen carefully to the discussions and the updates and the news from these power, these guys are like the OGs, right? How many of us can say that we were here for more than 10 years? How many of us can say that we were here at the coin offering of Ethereum, right? So these guys are really the most respected people of the space. I'm super stoked to hear from them. So if you have a question at the end, you can request to speak as an audience. You will be granted some time to ask the question, and then you will get 10 USD for asking the question. If not, I think I'm super excited to just open the floor for news first, because today we're going to be talking about AI and Bitcoin mining. But I like to give the floor to anyone who wants to talk. Like, I think somebody said just now they want to talk about some a new thing that they are focusing on, or some new exciting news that you've seen recently in the last week, or even today. And this is a really casual talk. Please feel free to cut me off, say hi again, and then just ask the question or engage and then contribute. Yeah. Anyone would like to start with some exciting things that they're doing, or any of the news that is recent?
Yeah, hi. I'd like to share. So I'm part of this network school. So network school is run by Balaji, and we're the second cohort now in Forest City, which is a artificial island just off Singapore. And so one of the highlights, obviously, for the attendees is Balaji's lecture, right? So usually that's once a week, and he has like a special guest coming in from the U.S. and Europe and other faraway places, once a week, right? So in fact, he actually shared on the topic of AI and blockchain in the last lecture, and he said something quite interesting that I found quite interesting. He said that okay, so between U.S. and China, in this AI war, US will lead in centrally trained AI and centrally deployed AI, right? So you're talking about, cloud or Grok or open chat, and this is something that ChatGPT, and this is something that is unavoidable because the U.S. government has basically placed some sort of a restriction or sanction, which prevents Chinese companies from getting like the best AI processors or GPUs, right? So yeah, but how China is fighting back is China is going to focus on open source models like DeepSeek. So these models are centrally trained, but they're deployed in a decentralized manner. And the idea is that China would want this to be deployed to as many people as possible. That means operating DeepSeek model on let's say a local machine, and these people would sort of try to implement right whatever their specialty is in whatever industry it is. So China could have 10,000 or 100,000 highly specialized models that's based on this open source. Yeah, and that for me is really interesting because I've been trying to link you know the capabilities of ICP, and now it's very apparent because ICP has already deployed DeepSeek model fully on chain in a smart Canister smart contract, and that means that for all these 10,000 or 100,000 this DeepSeek LLM or other models that may be adopted by the industry, that means that the moment they are confident that their AI is up to par to perform a certain function or to offer a certain service, then they can have the option to actually deploy it on ICP. Yeah, so this is like the big link that I made during this week. So just to kick off the discussion.
Fantastic. Actually, I've seen Natalie in here right now. CMX agent Natalie, would you like to say hi and then just say hi to everyone and introduce yourself a little bit?
Okay, hi everybody. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we
Yes,
can hear
hi,
you. Go
I'm
ahead.
Natalie. So I'm currently the CMO and co-founder of CMX Agent. So we are a fully automated AI agent for crypto and money exchange. We are mostly facilitating P2P and OTC trading via bots and messaging platforms. So I think the wider contribution that can have to this conversation is really about at a high level, right? Or at least what makes sense for us is mostly kind of like texting bot via like Telegram or any of your messaging apps to help you buy Bitcoin. So for me personally, my fundamental belief is I am bullish on Bitcoin. I always have been. I'm not as early as a lot of our esteemed speakers in this space, but I do enjoy holding it as an asset. So CMX agent will basically be able to facilitate all these kind of trades in the future. But right now we're mostly focusing on OTC deal sourcing. So yeah, I'm very glad to be able to speak on this topic and get to meet all these really amazing OG folks in the space. So yeah, hi everybody. Let me know if you're interested to chat more and enjoy the space. Yeah.
That's really interesting. Last week we actually talked about this. Last week we talked about like having a conversation with AI and being able to just ask the AI for a transaction. I think that would be super stoked. Is that, am I wrong? Is that what you're working on? A chat that can like execute a transaction for the person talking to the LLM?
Yes, you are correct. So this would be maybe in our phase 2 or phase 3 development, but this is what we are working towards. Yes.
Fantastic. Super excited because I have multiple aunties that want to buy Bitcoin, but they call me every day and I find it really difficult to help them. If there was an LLM that could help with this, it would be absolutely fantastic, right? Thank you
For
for that,
sure.
Natalie. Looking forward to
Thank
hear from
you.
you. Anyone from the floor, again, this is very casual. You can cut me off at any time. I'm a rambler. Go ahead and cut me off any time. Tell me about what are you excited about this past few days, or any news, or even your own projects. Harpreet, would you like to talk about the one that you said you wanted to talk about?
Sure,
Was there a
definitely.
project you wanted to? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so this is my observation from over the years. Yeah, so to give a bit of context and background, I actually before I got into blockchain, I was actually looking into researching into multi-agent systems. So basically, today we are generally trying to make agentic work, right? Trying to make a singular agent functional and workable, right? The next phase from it will become multi-agents, where you have multiple agents communicating, coordinating, collaborating on certain task or certain goal to achieve it together, right? That's the next phase of agentic post what we have today. Today is more in the beginning phase of trying to figure out how LLMs and learnability and growth of these agents will work. Yeah, and so we are in early phases right now, but there's a lot of exciting things to come. So I was researching in those phase, back in 2017 as a master student, and I just noticed one big issue with it. I felt like centralized AI or centralized agentic technologies is going to be a disaster for the world, because there's going to be too much of centralized power, some centralized access to data, and centralized, access to even funds and liquidity. And it's also a security threat. So looking at that point, it makes sense to actually jump into blockchain, to something maybe what even Aaron was saying earlier about what Balaji is mentioning, what America and everybody is trying to do right now is focus mainly on technologies that are kind of centralizing the whole ecosystem itself. And when I noticed that this is gonna be a disaster for the future, for the freedom of people, I felt like a decentralized tech, a decentralized ecosystem has to emerge, right? But these are all fears of the future. But today, like even an agentic that works fully, it's an exciting thing. So what are the problems of today that we want to solve? Today, if you really look into the crypto and blockchain space, right, we're talking about DeFi AI, but you're not seeing as many emerge quickly. Many people are trying to build something, but they actually lack the ground infrastructure on how to actually execute and build these things. When we talk about DeFi AI, today, if let's say you want to build a bot that can swap for you, or a bot that can trade for you, or bot that can actually go up and do transactions on your behalf, there's a lot of risk factors that has to be one to be considered. But at the same time, also, where's the infrastructure for it, right? So when you want to do a swap, for example, or trade, you need to do every single thing manually, right? Or you have to do a lot of integration manually, and you need a lot of more manual steps to be added into each of the agents, where it is not very scalable. That's the reason you see there's a lot of discussion or projects that are working on, but there's not many in market yet, right? They're still in early phases of trying to do things manually, integrating each one of them, and it will take some time before we actually really see a DeFi boom. So I think on the infrastructure side, there is lacking of understanding of what the human intent might be, or the user intent might be. How can the agents have its sets of guardrails that it doesn't do more or something wrong with the funds or with the permissions that have been granted to it, and at the same time ensuring that it doesn't go beyond its intended actions, right? So a lot of those part in DeFi AI is still being figured out, and that is not area that I noticed that, okay, right, getting into traditional DeFi market space will be like building a cart for horses when you know cars are around the corner, right? There's going to be new technologies that will be disrupting. Maybe a year and a half from now, or 2 years down from now, we mostly going to be start looking into using basic agentics for DeFi. But 5 years down the road, I don't think so anybody wants to go manually click the swap button anymore, right? Because if we are once we are comfortable enough with a new experience, it's very difficult for people to go back. Just like how you're used to using Uber today, right? Or Grab. It's very difficult for you to go back and haul for a taxi, or have switch back to the previous way once the behavior has changed. Similarly, right now, the way we use web, the way we use our services online, is about to come towards another change, where you can delegate to a computer, to an AI, to actually do things on your behalf or carry out things on your behalf, observe things on your behalf, respond on your behalf. So when you go towards that kind of an era, it also will be looking into doing finance on your behalf. You need to ensure you have the right tools to enable these agents, to enable this agentic future, but at the same time protect what is necessary. Yeah. So those are some of my points that I wanted to put up.
I think that's really an excellent point. I think there was one time when we really questioned, like, as things are getting easier and easier for the average man, our softwares and, computers are becoming more and more complex to build. I think as it gets easier for the average Joe, it gets more difficult to build. But with AI, I think this is an interesting fork in our discussion, because now that we can just instruct the AI on certain levels of executions, we could save a ton of time and we could execute on things that that we might not even need to know first per se, but we instruct the AI to do it. Anyone has any other? Our brothers from Nigeria. Let us give them a highlight today. For those of you who don't know, ICP hubs have very many local hubs. So I'm from Singapore hub. This is our brothers from Nigeria. Go ahead, unmute yourself. If you want to contribute, go ahead and say hi.
Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for giving me the floor. And of course, it's a very great privilege to be part of the ICP Global Hubs network. The conversation has been very interesting so far. I just want to bring down the context or the perspective to we Africans, Nigerians, Kenyans, South Africans, everybody there, part of the audience to this amazing space edition that we are having. It's quite amazing to notice that the fusion of blockchain and AI no longer being theoretical. And of course, we have several other innovative features of the ICP, how they reimagine how AI models can operate on the blockchain infrastructure. And also specifically with the recently enabled fully on-chain AI inference models. It's a very great privilege to be witnessing these amazing milestones. And while we also know that ICP is making waves, trends across the global, network. But it's also gaining traction here in Africa with developers in like Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, Ghana, cutting across majorly, every aspect of Africa, experimenting with the decentralized clouds to host AI tools and, similar, maybe DAO resistance to censorship. It's a game changer for many regions in Africa where centralized tech giants often fail to prioritize the local needs. We look at Africa with approximately or probably even more than 60% of the continent's population under 25 years of age. Quite a young, tech savvy people with over 500 million lacking reliable electricity. So we see it as a very, great opportunity to have solutions like AI optimized microgrid mining, ICP hosted decentralized AI, how they could turn challenges into global opportunities. So here in Nigeria, we tend to imagine several solutions. And with this, I'm also speaking to most of the Africans in the audience so that we can, all together look at these potential opportunities, how the likes of Nigerians Flutterwave can use ICP to tokenize AI verified remittances, or even farmers in Ghana, supply chain, sectors in South Africa and so on, can leverage Bitcoin-backed DAOs to fund solar-powered AI weather models. But then, of course, the conversation isn't just about Africa, right? I just want to throw in that particular perspective or the context, bringing it out to Africa so that everybody can be on the same page. It's just about, or mostly about decentralized systems, how they can shape African pragmatism, how they can answer the urgent global questions, like, for instance, how AI can cut Bitcoin's energy use, by 40% worldwide, and so on and so forth. Or even more importantly, how can protocols like ITP scale local innovations into global standards? So once again, it's been an amazing pleasure, being part of this conversation, and I thank you very much for having me once again.
Thank you, our brothers from Africa. Like I said just now, guys, ICP hubs, we have many local hubs. So you just find the one nearest to you, connect with them. They have resources, they have people, they have documents that you can read up on. They have people who know how to build, there are people who want to build. If you are interested in funding projects, great ideas, go ahead and connect at the local level. Thank you, our brothers from Nigeria. Sheldon, you have something to say. Go ahead, unmute yourself.
Yeah. I just wanted to jump in based on what Harpreet was saying earlier because I think he's absolutely right, and I think that some of the projects that are working now on different products they see this coming. So when you're setting up automation in a business environment, usually you want to try to plan in advance to make resources slim, available, anticipating that automation that you're going to set up. At Omnity Network, we've recently open sourced RichSwap, like I mentioned, but we also have a lot that can be done through HTTP. I think part of this is inspired by the ICP stack in general, which is moderately unique when it comes to handling HTTP. But HTTP is what powers our web browsers. It powers the majority of mobile applications that we use. It's a very, very well appreciated standard. It has some bloat. It has some silly things about a teapot written into the protocol and all kind of strange things from back in the day. But it's very, very ubiquitous. It's everywhere. HTTP is, right? So I think that there's one idea for builders out there that can be useful about this, which is that if you want AI or LLM to interact openly with your application on behalf of a user, it makes sense to make the operation of your app available without a paywall, without wallet login in some cases. It doesn't mean that you need to necessarily have a completely identityless or, on reaching the app, setting an identity kind of like weird structures. It's not like that. It's like if you can allow people utility from your product just through HTTP, then they don't have to manage an API. They don't have to go to somebody else who's a data provider or an interface for their tooling. You can just have an LLM that learns or already knows how to send a web request and then gets a response in that web request that is used for automation. For example, if you wanted to trade runes back and forth, but you also wanted to trade, excuse me, assets on Solana, then there's no reason why you couldn't tell an LLM to go do both of those things for you. However, you may have to, do some hand holding to get it used to, like, let's say, executing a transaction in Phantom, which requires lots of JSON and, non-HTTP operations. If you were trying to do the runes part of that trade, RichSwap is available to you. You could, just use that through the LLM today. That's perfectly possible. There's nothing that we've set up to set a barrier for that. And I see that a lot more. There's a choice for developers and dApp providers in crypto that you can, sort of require that the wallet sign up be first, or you can let people see the application and potentially, stage an operation before they actually get to the point of hitting the transact button. So I'm not just trying to, make a commercial advertisement for RichSwap. I think that anybody who is developing with ICP should be thinking about HTTP as part of the way that they want to interact with LLMs more openly. Because if you want to have an LLM part of your product where things are a little bit more restricted, or a user would have to sort of authorize a browser to drive for them, then maybe you don't want that strategy. Maybe you want to, be a little bit more protective and a little bit more closed off on how you enable certain functionality. But that doesn't mean that you can't have, let's say, the ability to discover data about your app just happening over standard internet protocols that ICP supports. So I think we're going to see more interest from that from developers in general, but especially with the automation and AI stuff focusing on Bitcoin. I think that's a really big question for us, because wallets like Xverse and Unisat and others, they're really moderately young. They don't have as much time in the market as MetaMask does, and MetaMask has a lot of bloat and problems. So I think we can keep learning from the previous mistakes of wallet providers, but at the same time, the goal is not that we hyper focus on wallets or hyper focus on one part of infrastructure. It's that we recognize that in the future, in the very near future, there's not a reason to have this sprawling UX at the user level. It's kind of UX for a machine. It's UX for an LLM. So I'm excited to see more things that are anticipating both a user to come click the button on occasion, and also to welcome an LLM to use public tooling.
I agree. Thank you, Sheldon. I think at the door of every great innovation or every great piece of technology is the ease of use. Ease of use for people who know and people who are normies like myself. That's why I love running these, right? Because I get to ask all the silly little questions and make people understand a little bit better. Does anyone want to jump on? If not, I'm gonna
Yes, I
move
would
on to
like
the
to jump
second.
in.
Oh, go ahead, Eric, go.
Okay, so when we talk about AI, I think whether it's a retail level for somebody who wants to do a simple transaction like buying Bitcoin with AI, or somebody who's more driven by profit, like doing trading using AI to optimize and to grow his portfolio or portfolio. I think what people need to understand before that stage happen, you need to implement machine learning and model testing. So before you can actually ask any LLM or any AI agent to do a transaction or to do a transaction or a performance, all this something has to happen before, which is machine learning and which is model testing, meaning an AI agent is as good as the time frame he's been learning, because AI agents are learning to be efficient, because we talk about his efficiency and to optimize any transaction, any value or proposition we're making. So I think what's important for everybody to understand, it's not like you ask AI to do something and it does it. Before that level of transaction happen, you need a strong background on machine learning. And I think what I learned with AlphaGo, where we're doing a lot of automated trading with AI. These guys are quant engineer who spent 3 years training the AI agent before it was optimized to do the actual good trade before making mistake, and they keep on adjusting it. So it's not like, oh, the bot has been trained or is functioning and it's forever. It's a daily constant adjustment of the bot or the agent in order to perform at this optimum value. So it's really important for people to understand that, because right now in all the conversation I hear, oh, you have AI, you press a button, something is done. Not true. And I think for people to be really careful, because there'll be loads of proposition of AI agent to do transaction on your behalf. They might don't give the best performance. They might don't they might don't buy Bitcoin at the best price, and you don't know where it's buying it from. So I think to do a bit of research and to really start searching the AI agent who have been battle tested, who have been confirmed, and can prove performance over a period of time, minimum 6 months to a year, then you can start showing your trust. Because we come back to trust. You want to trust the AI agent rather than a human being or yourself. Then you also have to find out if that agent has proved itself and is actually reliable. So that's the point I want to add to it.
Definitely, I agree as well. I think a lot of the people who write stories about AI, people who want to talk about the vision of the future of AI. But I think we need people like you, Eric, and you, Sheldon, who's very on the ground, who understand the limitations and then push past those limitations. Thank you for that addition. Does anyone else want to add in onto that? If not, I'm going to move on to the first question. Or we can chat all night. It's fine. We are chill like that. Anyone else want to add?
I'll rebut just really quickly because I'll toot my own horn personally for a second to say that I got an MIT micro grant for a business oriented AI product. I'm not saying that I'm special because of that. I'm saying that the idea that we got accepted by MIT was specific model training with snapshots and preservation of the model itself. You know, the way that modern AI moved forward really significantly is thanks to transforms, which are a gift and a curse. They're a black box, but at the same time, they make the level of processing that we have today possible because it was not about 10 years ago. So I think that there's a lot to be said about the stability and trustworthiness of a model and of a solution. But I think that when you see this at scale, when you see it used for financial applications, financial actions worth more than $10,000, you're going to see people wanting a higher level of trust, as he was saying, in the functionality itself. But part of that means that there is a greater responsibility or a greater demand to focus on that. If I want a cheap LLM query right now, I can go get one and I don't have to ask questions about the quality of the data that I receive, and I just hope that I get a good result. But to his point, if you're working with value at scale, if you deal with OFAC liability, if you have to explain to the purchasing department why you accidentally bought and sold more than you were expected to, or why you acted outside your budget, you have to have accountability for these systems. And I think that, in crypto, we're used to a lot of move fast and break things. But technology at scale in the modern era, sometimes it's comfortable with this idea. Like you see Twitter, doing really big reorganizations. And sometimes that's not the case. Facebook is a really huge business. Meta is a really huge business, and they've effectively lost a lot of money doing LLM trading because they were focused on metaverse and other applications. Their non-LLM machine learning from years ago about positive or negative intention from a comment, that's still some of the most valuable training on the internet because of two reasons. One, it's been running for such a long time, and two, because it's been applied and revisited and back tested over and over again. So I think we're going to get into a tiered, focus mode, which means that there is a heavy desire for some parties to get accountability, to get records, even state snapshotting and rollback if they can. But there's a lot that is not going to be feasible for most people who will sort of take the free LLM service or take the free machine learning oriented service and just kind of use it as it's offered. So I think it's important that as we go forward to different AI products and solutions that we keep an eye out for, the quality, the nuance.
Definitely. Thank you so much. Sheldon, what you say is very, very true, very real. Thank you for saying that because I actually met up with the founder this afternoon and he was playing with a agentic AI tool that he's building with OpenAI's LLM. And he was able to flood a particular Facebook post with many, many comments. But one of the things he did wrong was he didn't do the trigger of not to comment on his own comments. So that LLM ran and ran and ran and talked too much and spent a ton of his money commenting on their own comments. I think that was a really interesting discussion this afternoon with the founder. But that's one of the really, really big use cases, right? Being able to communicate and talk to each other, and AI can talk to AI. But anyone else would like to add on to this? If not, I'd like to move on to our topic today, which is AI and Bitcoin synergy. Oh, Natalie. Oh, go ahead, Natalie. Go and unmute yourself. Go and say what you want. Go ahead.
Hi, I think the last thing you mentioned about AI like communicating with each other is kind of like something that Virtual Protocol is also talking about with their autonomous commerce protocol. And they are talking about how they can create autonomous businesses just by with AI communicating with each other. I think this idea is really quite interesting, right? And it got me thinking about what is our role when it comes to prompting AI to do what we actually want it to do. And yeah, if anybody has any thoughts on what this looks like for the future, I'd be quite interested to hear your thoughts about it. Because I think for us, we are also expanding and thinking different ways you can not fit into the narrative, right, but advance the space in general. I think for us right now, we are trying to get we're solving a real problem for many people, and I think it's grounded in adoption and UX. But now that we're taking it a step further, you talk about tech, about security, you talk all these other things in terms of like commerce, right, and autonomous businesses. I think there's a lot to discuss around that area that is still very much yeah, I don't really know exactly where I'm going with this directly, but just trying to think of it in terms of like the future of AI, right? Like rather than just having conversations like back and forth, I think it's quite important to, I guess, highlight what this means for consumers, for people who are not maybe directly in crypto. Like crypto is something that I guess advances it really fast. Like we learn about things at a crazy speed. But at the same time, we're not getting the same kind of attention and funding that I guess non-crypto projects in AI are getting. So I'm just wondering if anybody had any thoughts on that. That'll be quite interesting to figure out because we are mostly, I guess, like we have to kind of follow the market sentiment, but actually what's happening outside of Web3, there's still a lot of AI stuff that's going on and people are still getting funded and grants and things like that. So curious to hear if anybody has any opinions on that.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely one of the very interesting things. I think to each person will use their LLMs differently. Like if I had a, oh, if I can imagine this, one of my friends who will be able to get two different LLMs to talk, he will get them to talk about philosophy, right? Like he's the kind of guy who will learn about philosophy and then he will get them to discuss about Confucius, and all that. So I think it's to each person they will be interested in what they want to fix or what business gap they want to fill. And I think all of us could expand. But I think you're right. I think there's not enough liquidity and funding flowing, and that's where the crypto comes in, and the crypto really uh, helps these projects or multiple projects gain more eyeballs and more traction. Anybody want to add? Okay, if not, I'd like to ask the first question. I actually prepared a few, but today, I just wanted to flow. I think it's really cool that we are flowing as well. But today we want to talk about AI. I want to ask this question. How is AI currently being used to improve on Bitcoin mining efficiency? You can talk about it in what you think, what you know, or even what you are trying to do in your project. And I know what are the most promising innovations in the space. On top of my mind, I can think that AI is improving Bitcoin mining efficiency by optimizing energy use, enhancing hardware performance, or predicting the best times to mine based on market conditions. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I definitely think for hardware optimization, AI is a useful tool because it's based on numbers and on the resource management. So there's no predictability, but it's to find out what's the most effective hardware solution and to find, based on the mining difficulty, what will be the hardware to buy, to focus, or which one to operate. And I think that's an interesting way to use AI to know when to mine to optimize your revenue based on your energy cost and maintenance costs. So I think that's a really good use of AI for Bitcoin mining or mining any coin, so to speak. I don't think it should be limited to Bitcoin.
Is there anyone here who have, because I'm not a technical person, I'm like really a real normie. Sometimes I ask questions that are pretty silly. Anyone here knows of any sort of AI used for Bitcoin? Because like from what I know, when you mine Bitcoin, you have to mine block by block, right? Is there any way to skip blocks now? Or is it still like, you still have to like randomly mine blocks until you get, go ahead, Carl, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hey, first of all, I want to say really pleased to be on the space. I'm glad I finally got my audio problems fixed and got back in the space. So appreciate you guys' patience and say it's an honor. This is a all-star cast here of speakers, so I really appreciate getting to be part of this. So in my opinion, where Bitcoin benefits from security is actually more in the sense that AI provides extra use cases for GPU computation. And so what it essentially does is gives another use case for a Bitcoin miner to be used, or an entire data center focused on Bitcoin mining. It can actually be repurposed to AI. And what that does is it actually makes it much more feasible for somebody to start a Bitcoin mining company because they know that, let's say, the price of Bitcoin is very volatile, and if the price ever went down enough, they could repurpose their equipment and their investment towards AI. So, in my opinion, it actually opens up a lot of opportunity for smaller mining companies to get involved in Bitcoin mining, and as well as gives maybe an opportunity for for AI data centers to also pivot into Bitcoin. And you can actually see it just in the hash rate of Bitcoin mining has been nothing but up and to the right since even it's kind of broken its correlation with price actually over the last 2 years since GPU usage has become more distributed. So that's my opinion. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I think I didn't know about there was a correlation between price action and Bitcoin mining. That's a very interesting. Do you know where I can read more about that or see that graph?
Yeah, I mean, you could pull up so there's always been like a 6-month lag between hash power and Bitcoin price. And a lot of people have like speculated that the more people mine Bitcoin, the higher the hash power, that drives price action. I've always been of the opinion of getting hash power on onto the Bitcoin network actually is a 6 to 12 month lead time because you're trying to purchase GPU computers that have a long lead time and then get them installed. So I actually think I don't believe that. I think it's actually just people who have been smart and predicted from the 4-year cycle the price increases. But anyways, you could just even pull up a chart of like Bitcoin price and Bitcoin's hash power and just see, you can almost just see the correlation there. So yeah, but it makes it, AI has opened up new business opportunities for Bitcoin miners. And that I think is extremely important for allowing new businesses to come into the Bitcoin mining space, knowing that that they're not locked in, that if market conditions change, they can actually pivot to a different market that that is also seeing incredible growth.
Yeah, I think that's very relatable. I actually in the last week I went to Sentosa Cove and I met a OG Bitcoin miner. Like he's like multimillionaire, but he mined Bitcoin just in Mongolia, just a little outside of China. In fact, I like to ask Odin Fun about this. About Bitcoin mining and AI. Is anybody trying to do it? Because he said to me back in 2016 when they brought up all of the the mining rigs and it was no longer allowed. They actually closed down everything. So what Carl is saying now is like they don't have to. They could repurpose it for something else, right? So I think that's a lot more feasible. Odin, would you like to add to this conversation? How China is doing this, and what new AI things are they improving on?
Yes, yes, yes. I want. Wait. Okay. The- We all know that relevant AI products on EVM and so have reached a very high market aware. However, on Odin purpose, due to the market aware of Odin dog and the depths of the liquidity pool, the market awares are all quite low. I have an idea. Is it possible for us to incorporate AI elements into liquidity and trading to help increase the liquidity pool and make value of tax on audit. In this way, whereas and more people will pay attention on auditing. The liquid token is very suitable for this task. Kyle, what do you think? I'm really looking forward to getting your reply and suggestion, as well as adding some value to these digital currencies besides promoting in their community. I'm also using the market value report to find the market value of other projects or help her with their launches. Right now, I'm still arranging things so that people who have the liquid token can use the Evos monitoring and the basic functions. Uh, uh, who have the liquid token can use the errors monitoring and basic query plugin with not taking functions. The rule for use it is that you have to have the liquid token. The plugin will check by itself if you have enough the liquid token before you can use it. What I mean is I just want to increase the audience people, Posen, and the FTV, the market aware. I think in the audience, the all of them market aware is so low. It is quite low. So if we can use AI, we can use some AI ways to to help to help finish this problem. I think it's very important because I really think Odin Phone is a perfecter product. It can help her ICP and can help her Bitcoin great again. Yeah, this is my opinion. So I really want the projector about AI on Odin can have a high FDV like the EVM also. So I look forward to uh the Kara's replay. We all know Kara is the ICP's digital digital office digital official person. Yes, yes. Just now. Thank you.
Thank you, Odinfan. We have our brothers from Nigeria who wants to add to the conversation. Is South Africa Bitcoin mining? Do you guys have rigs? Are you guys using efficient models? Are you guys using AI to become more efficient? Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, thank you very much. I mean, in a way, I believe we are not there yet, but looking at the future possibilities of AI being integrated into the mining operation, we can look at possibilities of having, smart mining algorithms or probably even selective mining hours, pretty much time-based optimizations in areas where we have the possibility of predicting, energy prices. So we can look at possibility of, mining in times when there is less demand for energy, of course, which would go a long way providing energy for other resources and only be able to mine precisely when there is, pretty much about selecting optimal hours for mining. And also using AI to get smarter by predicting mining difficulties, and also real-time power consumption as adjustments and so on and so forth. In a way, like I said, so it's like a near future where we are not there yet, or probably even the possibility of using AI to optimize hardware utilization, ensuring that every miners are able to utilize their hardware, at optimal level. But this is just from the top of my head and seeing how we can get smarter, using AI to optimize Bitcoin mining.
Thank you, ICP Hub Nigeria. Harpreet, you want to add to this?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, so I just on this case of mining, right? I mean, when you look into agents, all right, there are certain use cases that you can implement or build into that ecosystem that is able to bring things or make things better or improve. But there are certain things that will make it broken as well, because agent can also act as a double-edged sword, right? Where, like in certain cases it makes it more efficient, in certain cases it creates more problems. But let's just consider these use cases from different levels of difficulties and implementation. Let's just see from maybe a person who's just trying to optimize his mining in a particular mine farm, for example, right? Let's say you build an agent, right, connected to multiple mining farms and softwares which are managing what is being mined in this in this miner's farm, right? And then later decide on which assets to mine based on maybe the pricing, profitability, cost of electricity, and ask the agent to become the manager, right, who actually manages this mining farm. And basically allocate resources as the token becomes more profitable and more efficient. So this agent job will be to actually look into which assets you're like at the moment is bringing the best returns, right? Where to allocate the resources, which resources are suitable to be allocated. Let's say you have a bunch of ASIC miners which are very efficient for certain assets to be mined, but not as efficient to mine Bitcoin, right? So maybe it is not a wise choice to actually mine Bitcoin then, maybe mining a different asset. Or currently your rigs are mining a different asset, but it's more efficient for them to be mining Bitcoin at this moment, then switch to mining Bitcoin, right? Because it's bringing you, it's more efficient and it might be more profitable as well. So I think that sort of decisions, which actually are a lot of long-term decision making and short-term decision making as well, on terms of choosing, it's a huge skill for people to have, for people to master, to become, like over the years. This is a skill shortage because today, if you want to do this, you need good observation skill, you need good research skills, you need good market understanding. At the same time, you need to know what's going on in terms of price actions of those coins, and what is happening in the news as well. For example, to really get efficient in mining, in a large scale mining business itself. But if let's say you had an agent who you could replace with for such an activity, it basically every single small, medium, big mining operation can now optimize itself with just a simple AI. So this is use case in perspective of small scale, something that is implementable quickly soon, right? But let's talk about a bigger idea. Let's talk about nation states, right? Talk about countries. There is a lot of electricity wastage due to mismanagement of power, mismanagement of power generation, transmission, and usage because of lack of transparency and lack of understanding and on-time uh, actions on how do you either move the power or or transmit the power or reduce the production of power if let's just say there's wastage. So if we can actually have systems, let's say a blockchain powered national grid, or just the power generation part of it is actually in a blockchain kind of an ecosystem, right? You can build agents on it to actually optimize the power grid, right? So you know that, okay, at the moment, the industries are not consuming as much electricity. Maybe the demand has dropped due to economical pressures. And now, the industry is absorbing less electricity. There's excess of electricity. What can I do with this electricity? Can I funnel it to bunch of mining equipments or mining rigs and allow it to generate cryptocurrencies, or maybe provide that power to allow computation in the blockchain ecosystem, for example. But at the same time, now, okay, the industry demand has caught up again. There's a higher demand there. Maybe it's more profitable for me to generate the power to industry instead of mining right now, right? Can I optimize that particular power generation and consumption at that particular time? So this is like a higher level idea when you look into managing an electricity grid and power management of a nation state. Is it happening? Yes, this even at this level, you can look into countries like Bhutan, where they knew they have access of electricity. They signed private contracts. They brought in bunch of mining companies set up in Bhutan, where they diverted excess of the electricity, and they are one of the big holders of Bitcoin right now as a nation, as a country, right? And there's many petroleum companies and many different electricity grids and TNB who are actually already doing it, but they're doing it in a very manual way, where they have to constantly monitor, check, and understand what's going on in the power grid, and then execute it. If that actually had a layer of agents on it managing and overseeing it, it could have done in real time instead of like a more predictive long-term approach. It can be a real-time approach in terms of power management. So these are like the two stage of the ideas that I felt that agentic will be able to benefit. But just looking in terms of Bitcoin itself, let's going in what you call going in even more detail in the Bitcoin ecosystem. So Bitcoin itself, as you were saying about in terms of blocks, the blocks and the timing of the blocks is not a bug, it's a feature, right? The Bitcoin being slow protects itself, right? And its technology and its protocol design protects itself to become one of the most secure technologies, assets, and ecosystem out there. So that security that Bitcoin provides, it's a feature, right? Not its downside. But when we actually want to make Bitcoin different, or or basically something new from what it is, yes, of course, the technology was not designed for agentic, right? But can we use other terms? For example, like right now, even ICP, as what I know, provides CKBTC, right? They have tokenization of Bitcoin, and they have allow you to actually use Bitcoin on ICP ecosystem itself. Why don't use those Bitcoin, those features of ICP, right? Utilize it on ICP, add an agent on ICP, build amazing tools for the Bitcoin ecosystem over there itself, right? Having fully decentralized agents that are able to maybe trade, transfer, or maybe make it even more fun. Make Bitcoin games, agentic games, right? You build games in those canisters and you deploy them on ICP network, and but your pets or your game is actually being played in sets, right? You're basically maybe having a shooter game on ICP, where actually if you manage to get a headshot, you get X amount of sets, right? In your as rewards. So I think it unlocks a lot more use cases. Even with the Bitcoin ecosystem, but how traditionally Bitcoin it is as a protocol and technology, right? I don't think we have to adjust that using agents. That's just my perception. I'll get back to you guys. Yeah, we'd love to hear more.
Thank you, Harpreet. Thank you. I'd like to hear from Herbert, and then we're gonna give it to the floor, because I want Herbert to have some input in this, because we also need some time. I'm very famous for overrunning for time. In fact, we're doing that right now. But the conversation is great. Let's carry on. Herbert, do you want to talk a little bit about how Definity in Asia is doing either CKBTC or even with AI within canisters. Do you have anything that you would like to add to that?
Hey, thank you, Stephen. Yeah, I think that we all have a lot of us. We have been really talking nonstop about Odin Fang in the last couple of days. So I wanted to just relive the fond memory. I think that was last week. It was the last week or the week before, when Bob, the founder of Odin Fang, spoke to the Chinese community for the first time on a Twitter Spaces hosted by Anna Cafe. I think it was on a Friday afternoon. It was really early hours for Bob, and the community was waiting anxiously, to say the least, for for Bob to show up to hopefully to kill the rumor that there's a bug in the application, etc., etc. And then after 15 minutes, Bob did not show up, and then so the host Anna was saying, okay, Bob said he's gonna postpone the call. Wow, I can only imagine what was running through the minds of a lot of us in the community. Given that there's a rampant rumor about this and that with with Oliver. So I pinged Bob on Telegram, say, hey Bob, are you there? A lot of people, like 1,400 people from Chinese community are waiting for you to get on these Twitter Spaces. Can you join us? Bob is like, okay, sure, I'll join. Then I call Anna. Hey Anna, you need to restart the Twitter Spaces right now because Bob is available. All right, so Anna restarted the Twitter Spaces, and the community, to the credit of Odin Fang's Chinese community, everybody show up in droves. And then after another maybe 2 more minutes, hey, here comes Bob, the man of the hour. And then Bob did a wonderful job. Actually, the reason why Bob wasn't available in the beginning was he and his team were working on this PR statement to clarify what happened with Odin Fang, why some users were seeing some discrepancy numbers, which caused a lot of some level of panic and confusion. So they actually wrote this lengthy statement to explain what happened, how that issue has already been fixed, etc., etc. That's why he was late in the first place. But then anyway, he joined the call and had a pleasant chat with a community, and then we are back on track. So I thought that was I think that made a very very dynamic Friday afternoon for all the ICP lovers in Asia, in China. I just wanted to take this opportunity to recount that memory. I think 5 years from now, when we look back, what was going on in March 2025 when Odin Fang, I'm hypothetically, okay, I'm projecting the future, so not a financial advice. If Odin Fang has grown into the largest DEX on Bitcoin ecosystem, I think on that particular Friday, a lot of us gonna remember that day to where we bring back Odin Fang, and well, the rest is history. Yeah, I just want to share with that with everyone on that interesting episode. And also, by the way, this Anna Cafe has been really active in the last few weeks. It's hosted by Anna from Youku. She's a head of BD from Youku. As you guys know, one of the largest metaverse projects in ICP, and she has branched out to start hosting a series of Anna Cafes. So I just want to give her a shout out. If Anna reaches out to you guys, inviting you to be the speakers for the Chinese community, please give her your support. We need more We need more spaces like that, like this very one we are on, thanks to ICP Hub Network. We need more spaces with different regions, whether that's Nigeria, Europe, America, Japan, Korea, or China. We need to be in the conversation. We need to invite our friends from other ecosystems to join us. So I think I'm seeing a lot of great momentum from Asia in the last few weeks, because of Audin Fund, because of all these anxieties surrounding the Bitcoin. Is becoming this national reserve currency for America. People are wondering what's that going to do to us in the industry. But as I mentioned earlier, I think that's a great opportunity for ICP. So I'm looking forward to by the way, just an advertisement to the Web3 Festival in Hong Kong from April 6 to 9. I will be there. I believe Sheldon from the Omnity team will be there as well. The Omni team has a workshop scheduled on April 7th. So I'll be there to introduce chain fusion technology to some old and new friends in Hong Kong. So want to hopefully we can get together there and have a good party. Yeah, thank you, Stephen.
Thank you, Herbert. That was definitely an epic few days. I didn't know all that was happening in the background. I was reading the tweets, but yeah, you're right. I think there's a lot that's happening in Asia, in Hong Kong, in China. I think one of the ways we come together is through blockchain. Through projects. I think Sheldon wants to say something. Sheldon, go ahead. I see your hand raised. Go ahead.
Yep, just being unreasonably polite as always. So I think there's a common thread or a common discussion that may be a little bit forgotten from AI. Many years ago, there was a greater appreciation for data sets, and I think that's kind of come back recently now that there's so much model poisoning, model exhaustion, models feeding models. Like an AI or a machine learning application that's getting somebody else's machine learning output is not good, right? We want to get the original input and use that information to make a conclusion. So I wanted to draw y'all's attention to a handful of different stats about Bitcoin. I can just keep it relatively narrow because it's relative to AI. The important thing to know is that transforms, the operation that I mentioned earlier, the sort of black box that makes AI as good as it is now, or machine learning as productive as it is now, productized, etc. That transpired in 2016. So if you look at active addresses on a 7-day moving average over the course of the last 15 years, you can see that between 2015 and 2017, the sort of angle of the trend changes significantly. We go from this relatively unpopular place where there's no Ethereum, there's no smart contracts, and while there is other activity on Ethereum, like significant amounts of activity on Ethereum that could be tracked and purposed similarly, the traceability is much less significant because of UTXOs, because Satoshis are less fungible than Gwei in a positive manner. It's easy to take data like this and make it into a more meaningful conclusion. So again, I'm looking at a number of active addresses over a 7-day moving average on Bitcoin since 2010. And if you look between 2015 and 2018, you can see a really steep increase when two things started happening. One, more people were experimenting with Bitcoin in a public manner. And two, there was a higher motivation to transact on chain because there were these other competitors and they were not as well accepted by financial institutions. So if you're trying to use Bitcoin as a means of exchange, or you're trying to use any cryptocurrency as a means of exchange in 2015, 2016, you could use other cryptocurrencies, but Bitcoin is one of the easiest to cash out. And for those who weren't in the industry at the time, it was extremely common to purchase Bitcoin and then use it to acquire other currencies. So I think there was an understanding among ML engineers and researchers at the time that said, hey, there's this really big public, database that we can download. It's less than 500 gigabytes at that time. Hey, why don't we download this data set and start doing pivots on it and start trying to, make conclusions and extract information on it. It's certainly an exercise that I've recommended to data science students that if you want to do something interesting, just sync a Bitcoin node, and then you've got a really great database that's always going to get new stuff added to it. But if you look at that in contrast with miner earnings per terahash, or if you're looking at that as a contrast in total miner revenue daily, um, you can see that the argument for a use case for business, like I think Kyle was saying earlier about energy purpose, or maybe it was Harpreet, but the focus for using this data as a point of analytics to make business decisions, the value is increasing. If you're looking at this as a trend, hey, is it worth it for me to process Bitcoin data in order to make a business conclusion because it's going to cost me money to process the Bitcoin data? There's a very, very objective argument that you could make just looking at a handful of charts that say, hey, I can see that fee markets on Bitcoin had a big squeeze in 2018 and 2021 and in mid 2024. I can see that there was high activity at that time. I'd like to see what the miners were doing relative to that. I would like to see, bring down activity from pools. How many people sort of like left as the difficulty rate was too high, and then people who would activate when the fee rate was climbing or the volume of fees available were climbing. As an example, I see a difference here. Uh, May 2nd, 2021, average fee $28 versus let's say 2023 around the same time, average fee being below $2. So, that doesn't sound like a whole huge difference to us. I think it's a factor of a difference. But, a decimal place worth of dollar difference to a business at scale like a miner, that could be hundreds of thousands of dollars or millions of dollars in operational losses. So I think that in crypto, we focus a lot on the reward side of what Bitcoin can offer us. But businesses at scale, they have to mind their risk, and they do that. They don't do that because I say they need to do that. They do that because they don't want to lose their sort of king of the hill grade spot. They have to keep on top of data trends in order to understand, hey, this is my time to, bring in some new miners or to, shut some of them off. So I think there's still a lot of great use cases for machine learning at a more raw level and not so much AI that just takes in this data and then makes some data science level conclusions about it. And anybody who's interested in doing that could do it quite easily with open source tools.
Yeah, thank you, Sheldon. I think that's fantastic. I'm gonna bring the floor right now up. We are giving away 50 USD today. If you have been listening carefully for the last 1 hour, 1 hour and 20 minutes, I would like to invite you up. You can now request to speak. Now, of course, please ask your question yourself, and after this, please do DM ICP Hub Singapore, or I'll DM you myself, and then you need to give us your wallet so that we can airdrop you the USD. Anyone from the floor would like to request up to speak? Also, ICP Hubs network, ICP Hubs, I might need you to help me on this because I'm not the co-host today. I might need you to help me bring up, if possible, bring up the requests. Okay, let's open the floor up right now. You can ask a general question to all of the speakers today, or you can direct your question to one of the speakers. Would anyone like to ask a question? Please go ahead and request to speak. Okay, I don't know whether it's a technical difficulty because I did have some technical difficulty just now. Um, is there anyone who would like to ask a question? Go ahead and react, and then I'm gonna try to bring you up. Okay, I'm not getting any alerts here. Wow, let me tell you guys. Okay, as ICB Hubs is trying to help me out here because I do want to give the floor an opportunity to ask questions because that's where it gets really interesting. Oh, we have somebody come on. Um, I do want to give somebody some time to ask question because this is where it gets really cool because you get to ask the speaker some questions, and also a lot of feedback that we got is the best time of the spaces is always the Q&A. So let's give them opportunity. Would anyone like to request? Let me see. I am not the co-host, so I can't really see who is requesting right now. Okay, I'm going to give it another minute. ICP Hubs Network, it would be really great if you could help me out here. If anyone is requesting, do bring them on the stage so that we can get some audience and speaker interaction. Okay, I think in terms of time, we are a little bit overrun. I do think that we can go ahead and close out this session. Can I go ahead and close this session?
Just one
All
thing
right.
briefly, really
Usually,
quickly.
yeah.
I,
No, actually, usually I'll give everyone a chance to have their closing comments. Sheldon, you go ahead. Everybody will get a chance to do closing comments. Yeah.
okay.
Go ahead.
So my closing statement is that we hope that we see lots of people out at the workshop at the Web3 Festival. I'm very excited for that because we don't get to do enough of those workshops, and we've got some other events coming up like describing Atlantis in Vegas, and we're working on some other great engagements as well with a developer focus. But trying to balance the developer and art focus, we're really trying to give back and be helpful for folks who want to do cool stuff. So if you want to do something cool, please come out and see us at the workshop and ask questions. And if you can't come out, then that's okay too. Just drop a DM, or you could even comment on this spaces and we'll reach out. We really want to support builders and artists. So thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, Sheldon from Omnity. Go ahead, Eric. Eric, your closing comments. Go ahead.
Yes, I'd like to make a closing comment because we all speak about AI on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, but I just was at a conference a week ago about quantum computer held at PwC with Curanium and Metasig, and I feel there's something happening in innovation. Quantum computer are becoming real, and what people have to understand, like the encryption we're using for cryptocurrency is 40 years old technology, and the day the quantum computer will be live, that will be blown away, meaning like every single public key from Bitcoin, any wallet will be able to read a quantum computer within a second. So I think there's a new wave of technology coming up on the space. Blockchain and quantum will be important together. I think the conference was really emphasized the point on that. And what made me realize is so important. Many governments across the globe are investing heavily on quantum computing without actually being public about it. That's my closing statement.
Thank you, Eric. Aaron, would you like to come and do a few statements before we close?
Yeah. So yeah, thanks everyone for being here for the space. It's been a very interesting conversation, and obviously it's a ongoing one. So we have one every week. So hopefully we'll see you next week. And yeah, and for me, here in Singapore, we have a meetup this Sunday at noon. And this meetup will be hosted together with Vlee Wallet, and Vlee Wallet will be an AI agent enabled wallet where you can just talk to it and it can manage like airdrops, which Stephen, I think is is quite a chore for you. So hopefully, yeah, when this AI agent comes up, we can do this part for you. Yeah, again, thanks everyone, and and I think that yeah, coming back to the statement I made, I think that's something that people would really need to pay attention to, right? So the moment you host an AI agent locally is fine, but once the economic value of this agent becomes significant, then I think the next logical step is people would think about security, right? And the only blockchain that can possibly host this is ICP, and I think this is like the main point, and I think people don't realize it yet, and I think there's a lot of and I think realization may come all at one time in a wave, and this is something that I think is it's gonna write history for internet. Thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you so much. Carl, would you like to come up and say a few statements, closing comments?
Yeah, no, I really appreciate this space, and it was great great to be on here. And I apologize again for the technical difficulties on my own end. But more just, I want to encourage people to start building. This is like everyone listen to the space. There's so much good conversation related to the intersection between AI and Bitcoin, and that's a completely green field waiting for people to explore. And I think all of us have the alpha in terms of we're way ahead of the curve for building new products, and it's going to take the rest of the industry. It's going to take the rest of the Web 2 world and all that to catch up. And so you have this head start. So start thinking through exactly what type of products the world needs, and start building. And I think just from this conversation, just building on ICP, there's a lot of opportunity there. And then even if you don't want to, there's also a huge area for building projects on on Web 2 tech stacks and things like that. I think all of it, the more we can make Bitcoin part of the AI experience, the better for humanity and for society and for our industry. What I don't want to see is, I find it kind of embarrassing that Bitcoin is digital money, and yet there's almost no website I use on a daily basis that accepts Bitcoin as payment. Everyone's still using credit cards, and I don't want to see our industry lose the competitive advantage that we would have in the AI space, especially as we were talking about like LLMs making doing financial transactions on our behalf. And so start building. And if you have a friend who's trying to explore this space, bring them on board and get them interested in building AI and Bitcoin apps. And appreciate the time. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Carl. Herbert, would you like to come and do a few sentences, closing comments?
Yeah, sure, Stephen. I just want to remind everyone right now there is a bit of a mean nihilism sentiment going on in the industry, because a lot of folks feel that what have we got so far, and what's left in crypto? Is it just meme, or and Bitcoin as a big as a number one coin, which shouldn't be surprising to a lot of folks from years ago. So I didn't to fight that sentiment. I think this is actually the great again the great opportunity for ICP, because especially given today's topic, right, about AI, about Bitcoin, as the founder and chief scientist Dominic Williams of Divinity Foundation, said we are entering into this age of self-writing internet. So for those of you who have played around with large language models to say try to do vibe coding, you'll see that we live in an age where it's increasingly difficult to differentiate which content is coming from human versus machine. It's a hybrid. It's woven together as we do coding, as we write the next version of internet, which means I think there's a great opportunity and a huge empty space for more content creators to write our own story, to preserve facts, to write the human stories as we live them. Because I think if we don't, it's going to be difficult to tell which one is generated by the machine versus human. So while we still can, it's good to write down those things. Share your observations, share your learnings, share your stories. I think this is the greatest time for super content creators. And there's a lot of things we can do to with launchpads such as Audinfang. There are ways we can empower the super content creators, not only just to write but also to actually monetize their content. So that's just my call out. I think this has always been neglected in the industry, but creating content has a lot of long-term value that is becoming more precious now as AI is growing by day. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Herbert. I think you're keeping it really real by talking about the negativity in the market. Thank you for that. That was really cool for you to come out and say that. Natalie, would you come and do some closing comments?
Yeah, for sure. I think first of all, thank you everybody for tuning in and listening, and I'm really grateful to be able to share the space with everyone here. I learned a lot actually about hearing about Bitcoin, and as a whole, as somebody who's like, I guess, relatively newer, it's very interesting. I guess for me, I guess on a higher level, my sentiment towards the broader market is that I'm very focused on things that are real, right? So consumer adoption is something that's always been very important to me. It's the first narrative I guess entered crypto with, and it's the narrative that I will still be the most bullish upon. I think personally, as somebody who's maybe a little bit more normie, I understand a bit more about DeFi, and I guess AI is something that is actually quite empowering because now everybody can build. And fundamentally, that means that it changes the way of work. It changes the way we see things. It changes the way we monetize. It changes the way, we communicate and interact. For me, building with AI, with crypto, and the broader space is something that is very empowering, and it changed the way I see um I guess my progress and what I want to do with my time. So I would like to kind of like share this sentiment with everybody else. And that's why adoption is very important to me, because I truly think it's about freedom. It's about long-term success in a way, it's never possible before. So if everybody can build their own businesses and monetize their own content, monetize who they are, and crypto is something that, and Bitcoin is something that, pushes us to that next level, is something that we really should double down on and really, really think about simplifying it for everybody else. Hopefully, what we're building with CMX is, I guess, the first step. But yeah, I guess that's really my statement, everybody. Just it's accessible. It's very difficult, and it's a very crowded space, but it's also something that is worth trying. So yeah, that's my closing statement. Thanks again for inviting us on this space.
Thank you, Natalie. That was really in alignment with all of us. I think from the voices of everyone here, I think we really align with everyone should go and build their own uh, projects, go and align with a particular vision and build and ask questions and push. Harpreet, you have given us a lot of valuable insights today. Harpreet, can you do your closing statements, your last few sentences that you want to share with us?
Sure, definitely. Sorry, I lost you guys in a bit earlier due to the connection. I was walking outside. Yeah, so I mean, my closing statements will be, right, solve real problems, right? It's like there's tremendous amount of problems out there, like in the world that actually we can solve using agents, can solve using blockchain, crypto, AI, like all the other set of tool stacks that are out there, right? So there are, I think, solve real problems, build things that are cool, right? And don't be evil, right? Don't only think about your monetary gain and and screw the whole market, right? Don't build things that will become evil, right? Because it follows your footsteps, right? So there are some of those things, and I think there is tremendous amount of opportunity. While I was actually listening Kyle's talk earlier, I was like, hey, that's a really cool idea to build an agentic data analysis or an agentic data scientist who's actually able to maybe study the market for you, right? So there's $1 billion opportunity over there. Whoever wants to build it, that's a really cool idea. I'll use it, right? And I mean, maybe you can wipe scrap data from ecosystem instead of just wipe coding anymore, right? So that's going to be some cool stuff out there. So, and I think the possibilities are endless, right? So whenever you encounter a problem and you're like, hey, can I solve this using an agent, right? Can I actually bring more value to people if it's agentic, right? Can it actually, will it be something cool, right? There's something people want to use it, right? And at the same time, how do I protect it, make sure that it doesn't go beyond than its means, right? So that mindset is what I'll leave you guys with. I will not talk much. I hope to, fill you guys in even more in the future AMA sessions. Thanks, man.
Thank you, Harpreet. I think all of us have been very listening to every word today. Everyone has been really, really great. I want to appreciate everyone here. You guys are awesome. You guys are what motivate me to keep doing this. This is really great, very valuable insights with these spaces. What an incredible discussion we had today. Truly, the depth of insight shared was truly next level. A huge thank you to everyone, especially our amazing speakers, Natalie from CMX Agent, Mr. Aaron Ting for putting this together, Carl Langham, thank you, Eric Alexander, Herbert, ICP from Asia, Definity, Harpreet, thank you so much, Odin Fan for coming up to speak, Sheldon from Omnity, and thank you, and of course, everyone in the audience for tuning in. Today, we covered some game-changing topics, automation in business through blockchain, how infrastructure can support AI and LLMs without unnecessary barriers like paywalls and sign-ins, using AI to optimize Bitcoin mining from identifying the best energy sources to improving efficiency and even on a national scale, right? Like Bhutan, I heard. This is the first time I heard about that, right? And how selective mining can repurpose resources and make Bitcoin mining more accessible, more than ever before, even for the small guy. This space was packed with valuable insights, and I can't wait for the next one. Stay tuned because the next time we'll be delving into many more AI topics and blockchain and ICP. And apologies for the technical difficulties today. I kid you not. I'm in Malaysia right now, but there were so many. I was not the co-host, but I think we're gonna do it again and we're gonna do better. And next time we'll make sure that I'm co-host and I can get people up to ask questions because we are really, really excited to give away free internet money. Yeah. But if not, usually I end with a song. Today, because of technical difficulty, there is no song, so I'll end with this. Whoa, we're not even halfway there. Whoa, living on a prayer. Good night, everyone. Thank you.
Oh my goodness.
Good night.
Thank you. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you.